Welcome to Prineville, the cowboy capital of Oregon, also the host of the Crooked River Roundup. Now, last year at the Sisters Rodeo, you probably remember a bull named Party Bus who became famous for his extracurricular activities, one might say. A couple of years ago, Alan Schaffler did a story about a bull named Red Rock that was so famous they actually made a movie about him. Well, before there was a bull named Red Rock, before there was a bull named Party Bus, there was a horse named Warpaint.
So Warpaint was a bucking horse owned by the Christensen Brothers Rodeo String. They were headquartered in Eugene.
And that horse was the GOAT.
And he was the bucking horse of the year in 56, 57, and 58. And in 1958, he actually tied for the top honor, but he won it. He has 3 halters.
Now, while Eddie Van Halen was on my bedroom walls as a kid, for Doug, it was definitely Warpaint.
We'd get promo pictures from Christensen Brothers before the show, and of course they'd always send a picture of Warpaint and to use in the advertising. And I always had one of those. Dad would sneak one out for me, and we had that on the wall when I grew up.
They say if you lasted the first 3 kicks on Warpaint, you might have a chance. But most never even made it that far.
Just about any rodeo that Christensen Brothers ever went to, if they have a Hall of Fame, Warpaint is front and center in that Hall of Fame.
Warpaint reigned supreme until the day he met Manuel Enos, a kind-hearted soul who was driving truck for the Christensen Brothers during the week and was a 4-sport cowboy on the weekend.
The picture that you see a lot on that's tied to the Crooked River Roundup is Manuel Enos riding Warpaint in Prineville in 1955. Manuel Enos was a great guy, and he told me, I asked him, I said, "Manuel, you looked a little high in the saddle in that picture," and he says, "Yeah, I was." He says, "I made it a couple of more jumps and ended up in some of that fine soil in Crook County." But he says, I drew him a couple of weeks later in Redmond, Deschutes County Fair and Rodeo, and he rode him. Actually, the first qualified ride on Warpaint was Manuel Enos in Redmond, Oregon.
Warpaint's personality, spunk, and beautiful painted features made him a favorite with the folks. So much so that when he passed away in his 30s, they decided to preserve him and put him on display at the Happy Canyon Hall of Fame in Pendleton, where he is to this day.
It's amazing that we're standing here in 2025 talking about a horse, right? A horse that was born in 1945, passed in 1975, that's 50 years ago. Talking about a horse that would be 80 years old, which is in coincidence, right? Warpaint's the same age as the Crooked River Roundup, right? So he's gonna have his 80th birthday this year, and so is the Crooked River Roundup.
If you feel like you would have loved to have met Warpaint, you're in luck, because he's right in downtown Prineville, and he loves sugar cubes. It's
made of scrap iron, right? And everybody was allowed to donate scrap iron to help build it.
Warpaint, the horse that was the GOAT.
So Warpaint has a permanent home here in the center of Prineville.
For Central Oregon Daily News, I'm Scott Elmas. You hear?
1 minute to post time, approaching the gate.